You think Dennis Nedry's Barbasol can of dinosaur embryos was the only thing lost in Jurassic Park? Think again. For decades we've believed that Jurassic Park has simply left abandoned, all the data unrecoverable. But what if I told you there's a shocking twist that reveals a critical bit of information for Jurassic Park and was recovered, and fundamentally altering everything you thought you knew about those fateful hours after Jurassic Park fell? You see, one question I've always had is, in the Lost World Jurassic Park in 1997, why didn't they simply go back to Isla Nublar and take the dinosaurs off of there, rather than go to Isla Sorna? Something is amiss here. What happened after Jurassic Park fell in 1993? You think InGen are just going to simply abandon a multi-billion-dollar installation with all the dinosaurs, all the data, and just move on to Isla Sorna in 1997's The Lost World Jurassic Park? You see, there must be a reason they never went back, and we're going to be revealing that today. Now, immediately, I know what you're thinking, and especially if you've read the Jurassic Park novel. Now, spoilers, I'm going to tell you what happens at the very end. You see, at the end of the Jurassic Park novel, they leave the island, just like in the film, but something else happens. The Costa Rican government decides they're going to napalm bomb the entirety of the island, wiping out the dinosaurs. And then I thought that makes sense in the film, right? Because then InGen wouldn't be able to go back to Isla Nublar because there'd be no dinosaurs there. They'd been wiped out by the military. So let's fast forward to Jurassic World and look for any evidence that there was any napalm bombing there. And sure enough, we don't see any of it. I mean, there's no char. The buildings are still there. I mean, we literally see Zach and Gray going in them. No signs of any type of fire. And not only that, they take some of the animals off Isla Nublar. Rexy in Jurassic World is the same Rex from the 1993 Jurassic Park film. Therefore, the napalm bombing couldn't have happened in the film universe. Sure, it happens in the novel, doesn't in the film. So there must be another reason that InGen didn't go back to Nublar and went to Sorna instead. You see, if you're not familiar, in the Lost World Jurassic Park, they go to a completely different island, Isla Sorna, which was apparently the factory floor for the dinosaurs. Now, I know from a storytelling perspective and a Hollywood movie perspective, it's more fun for a sequel to go to a new island, new dinosaurs, yada yada yada. But it's never fully explained in the lore why they didn't just go back to Nublar. But that's because I'd missed some crucial information, which only has come to light recently. You see, the Lost World does give us snippets of information. The Lost World tells us that InGen tried to cover up the deaths of all the people involved in the original Jurassic Park. Dennis Nedry, Gennaro, Robert Muldoon. InGen got sued for their deaths, and they tried to keep this under wraps by giving everyone an NDA. Malcolm breaks this in The Lost World.
You signed a non-disclosure agreement before you went to the island that expressly forbade you from discussing anything you saw. You violated that agreement.
Yeah, I did, and you lied. You twisted the facts surrounding the deaths of 3 people. There aren't any versions of the truth, and I'll tell you something, InGen can't keep spewing out.
InGen is my responsibility now, Doctor, and I will jealously defend its interests.
In a few weeks' time, they'll be long forgotten. Not by me.
This tells me some shady business practice was definitely going on after Jurassic Park fell. But what happened to all this technology on the island? What happened to the employees? And most importantly, what happened to them dinosaurs? You see, in 2018's The Fallen Kingdom, there was a huge build-up. A massive backstory that appeared online from a website called the Dinosaur Protection Group. Now, this is canon to the Jurassic Park universe, and it goes on about the 1993 incident and how it was all covered up by InGen, and how they lied to the public. Now, I get they would cover it up, lie to the public, I get that, they're a horrible company, but it doesn't explain why they didn't go back. But that's where I was wrong. They did actually go back. They went back in 1994 and conducted a cleanup operation. And this document here is the investigation notes from the island, 100% canon. And this is where it gets extremely interesting. You see, on this document, it tells us that the island cleanup team had noted tectonic activity and that the embryo storage pods were destroyed and the embryos washed away. You see, this document here shows us that they went back and documented several dinosaur species to show that their assets and cloning technology, whatever you want to call it, was still intact. That's exactly what this is. Notice something here? It says Operation Clean Sweep. Now, I'll come back to that in just a second. You see, the cleanup team arrives at some point in 1994, no date specific, but the island actually fell on June the 12th, 1993, so at least 6 months had passed before they send a team in. You'd have thought they'd send a team in the very next day, right? This just isn't adding up. I mean, dinosaurs are loose on this island, and you wait several months at least before you send a team in? That doesn't sound right to me. You see, in 1995, Isla Sorna was still active, believe it or not. Sure, Jurassic Park fell in 1993, but Isla Sorna was still going. And in 1995, InGen braces for Hurricane Clarissa. And this is where it fully evacuates and closes down Site B. They release the dinosaurs into the wild and just completely abandon them. All of this to me just doesn't seem to make sense. They have Isla Nublar completely abandoned with dinosaurs on, and now they have Isla Sorna completely abandoned with dinosaurs on. 2 islands. No wonder InGen went under. They just discarded and thrown away money. No, but seriously, there is no way they abandoned both these islands. We know by 1997, Ludlow already has plans and construction is well underway for Jurassic Park San Diego. Perhaps they decided to completely abandon these islands because they're going to bring it to the mainland. It's just too costly to keep evacuating the island because of the hurricanes. Okay, potentially from a business perspective, that makes sense, but they won't even know the animals survive, because think back to what Robert Muldoon says in Jurassic Park.
What about the lysine contingency? We could put that into effect.
What's that?
That is absolutely out of the question.
The lysine contingency is intended to prevent the spread of the animals in case they ever get off the island. Dr. Wu inserted a gene that creates a single faulty enzyme in protein metabolism. The animals can't manufacture the amino acid lysine. Unless they're completely supplied with lysine by us, they slip into a coma and die.
They'd be under the impression that the dinosaurs would die out. I mean, that's why they installed the lysine contingency, right? To stop the spread of dinosaurs on the island and off the island. But that's where, thinking back to it, they'd already got confirmation that doesn't work. They went back to the island several months later and they were thriving. The original plan, like we saw earlier, Operation Clean Sweep, was probably to wipe them out. That's why this was abandoned. They decided, hang on, these dinosaurs are thriving. We can use this to our advantage. Their Site B facility was still active in 1995. They continued cloning dinosaurs and then thought, right, time to abandon it and let's bring them to the mainland later on. So they decided to start with the Isla Sorna animals first and then potentially move on to Nublar. But we all know how the Lost World Jurassic Park plays out. A T-Rex escapes on the mainland and InGen can't contain its lies and illegal dinosaur cloning any longer. Hence why in 1997, InGen basically collapses and gets bought out by Masrani Global. But we're not done just there. You see, the cleanup operation in 1994 was exactly that, planned to be a cleanup operation. But someone or a team would have had to have gone in prior to all of this to get the information, to see what was still happening. They wouldn't have waited several months to send a team back in there with these dinosaurs. This is InGen. They'd want to go in the next day, the week after potentially. I mean, even in Rebirth, they're not putting down mutated dinosaurs. They'll find a use for them. They're not wasting all that money. You see, things get even more shady when we realize that in 1999, InGen continues its shady research on Sorna with Project Regenesis. Now, if you're unaware, in 1999, they started the cloning of dinosaurs illegally, such as the Spinosaurus, the Anki, Ceratosaurus, and one other dinosaur, I believe. And they did this while they were owned by Masrani Global, but kept it all very secret. Now, as we know, in 1999, Masrani Global also gains access to Isla Nublar, Isla Sorna, and by 2002, Vic Hoskins is part of InGen's security team and is already back on Isla Nublar, capturing Rexy for Jurassic World's opening in 2005. So by 2002, several teams had already been back to Nublar. The dinosaurs are still there. But it brings me back to my initial question. What happened after Jurassic Park fell? Well, I think we've already answered that. I would say within the first few days after John Hammond left that island, a reconnaissance team was sent in to scout out the initial damage, to scout out their assets. And what they find, well, something totally different, which could lead us into the brand new game Jurassic Park Survival, which we know takes place the very next day. So we know people are going to be on this island, the staff potentially coming into contact with another mercenary team sent by InGen. And this builds into a current project I'm working on, a short Jurassic Park film, Return to Nublar. So if you want to see that get made, hit the like button right now, because I will help push this video out to more people and make more people aware. Also, a massive shout out to this dude who's been going on for like 70 days for me to start a podcast, so the determination deserves a shout out. Massive thanks to the InGen security team who are on screen now, DVM Wannabe 1018, Hammer Time, Lily, and our Jurassic CEO, Joseph Frost's Ghost. Thanks guys. And hang on, if you came across a Velociraptor out in the open, could your day get any worse? You bet Jurassic can. Catch you later.